to all gathered here. On behalf of entire Nansal University, I cordially welcome our honorable guest, Mr. Lokesh Mehra sir and Mr. Vishram Thatte. Now, we need to know about our distinguished guest, Mr. Lokesh Mehra sir. Lokesh sir heads AWS Academy for South Asia, which entails managing strategic relationships with means of education, institutional bodies, policy, lead engagements, and skill development initiatives, along with aligning universities with Amazon curriculum and certification. He has had stints with other leading organizations, namely NASCOM, Oracle, Symantec, Microsoft, Cisco, Intel, and NIIT. By profession, an electronics and communication engineer, MBA, and a postgraduate in marketing and education technology. Lokesh sir has over 28 years of experience in the IT industry, covering education, training, sales, marketing, product management, channel development, and CSR. Lokesh sir has spoken at several public forums hosted by Association, Business Today, CII, H, ELETS, Indian Education Congress, NASCOM, PhD, International Telecom Union, ITU, UNDP, etc. And besides editing 3 books, has also authored several articles published in leading newspaper and magazines. So now moving further, now it's time to know about another guest of today's, Mr. Vishram Thatte. Vishram Thatte sir, AWS certified professional working with Amazon Web Services since August 2016, working on AWS platform for over 5 years. Around 20 years of industry, published in project newspaper and database, data warehousing. So now moving further, now it's time to know about another biggest override from Mr. Developer to project leads. Vishram Bhatt delivery manager, AWS certified professional, support engineer that in major IT companies like Hexaware, Barclays, etc. Takes deep interest in performing ISR, individual social responsibility, closely associated with a Pune-based NGO which caters to various needs of the needy people from various walks of life. Thank you, sir. Now I request Lokesh Mehra sir to continue the session.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lokesh, and I just want a raise of hands to understand which streams do you belong to? You belong to BCA, BTech, or what kind of streams? So, if I could have a raise of hands, and which students are from BCA? Okay, a couple.
Raise your hand.
Okay, majority of them. Perfect. So I'm going to share my screen. Himanshu sir, I'll request you to, let me know once you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
And just tell me if the screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Perfect. So I'm going to spend about the next 20 to 30 minutes talking about what is happening, in the current scenario, why there is a requirement for cloud professionals, and how can you benefit from the AWS Academy, which is at Mysore University. My colleague Vishram sir will do a double click in terms of the kind of certifications that you can undertake and what is the process for, taking those certifications. So, first of all, welcome to the faculty and the students who are participating in this session. Look, with COVID, there's been a huge change in terms of how organized work has moved to a distributed workforce. So, in the earlier avatar, we had only about 20% of people working remotely, which has now gone up to 70% online. And it is now coming back to about 40 to 50%, which would be a hybrid mode. Secondly, the traditional organizational structure is changing from silos and lines to basically networks and teamwork, which is very different. And right now, it has become from just in time to just in case. Let me begin with talking about four numbers. So you may be confused what these four numbers, are. First of all, the 7.6 is basically the population which is global in nature. So how many people live on this planet? About 7.6 billion people live on this planet. From this 7.6, almost 3.7 have access to the internet. From that 3.7, 50% of them reside in Asia Pacific. And from that 50%, 24% resides just in India alone. So you can imagine the number of people who are exposed to IT and technology. Now, with these changes, you would have realized also that there's a lot which is happening. A lot of you were used to the Kali Pili taxis, and you would have realized now that we have all transitioned to the Olas and to the Ubers. Just for your information, prior to the pandemic, Uber was doing about 14 million rides per week. So you can imagine across India, 14 million rides is a huge thing. So look at the number of, entrenchment that these companies have done. Let's talk about books. A lot of you use physical books, but nowadays a lot of you don't read newspapers, and even you see the news on your mobile phone or in shorts or any of the apps. So we are seeing while books still hold about a 66% margin, there has been an entrenchment of the remaining 30-35% of digital devices which has come in. Another area which all of you are familiar with is in terms of the entrenchment of digital payments. So today, if you are going anywhere, even if you're buying a nariyal pani, that person also accepts, or even a sabji wala accepts, some kind of financial payment through UPI or through Paytm. Just to share with you, the digital payments are going to touch almost 1 trillion by 2026. And the amount which is just in 2021 was to the tune of USD 300 billion. So you can imagine the impact that digital transition transactions is making in India. Now this is not confined just to the day to day life, but even to robots now which are replacing the manufacturing sector. So today, typically a robot, will cost very, very less. For example, I don't know if you're aware, but when we talk about industrial robots in India, there are almost about 27,000 robots in India. But if I compare it to China, China has about 750,000 robots. India has just about 27,000. But today, the cost of a robot has come down so much. This figure also, what you see about 50K, it has now come down to about 35K. So most of the automotive companies and manufacturing companies are now going for robots. And it's not confined just to all those things. Even if you're looking at matrimonial ads, you remember when you were young, there used to be 4 to 5 pages which used to come for matrimonial ads. Now it's got reduced to 1 to 2 pages because now you have Bharat Matrimony, Shadi.com, all these where just with the authentication of Aadhaar, you can actually start utilizing it. Why am I sharing all this with you? Because you will realize that everything is getting transformed. You are aware that your mobile phone has now replaced 30 devices. So if you go by the data which TRAI, which is the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, has said, with that population of India, which is 1.37, 1.16 billion people have phones. From that 1.16 billion who have phones, almost about 57% have internet on that mobile phone. So you can imagine even the rural population which did not have smartphones, now feature phones as well as the smartphones contribute almost to 57%. So there's a huge change which is happening. And all this is happening due to only one aspect, which is digitization. So it's very important for you to know that in your generation, the last 15, 20 years, you've seen so much of IT and digitization which is happening. Let's talk about, a favorite topic for all of us, which you may have got sick of, which is called COVID. But I see COVID from a positive angle. And why do I see COVID from a positive angle? Because yes, it has impacted, the fact that the colleges were closed, the labs, were closed. A lot of the colleges was losing money because parking was closed, the canteen was closed. But COVID has also led to a lot of education moving online. So, what is the advantage of COVID? Now you'll see your faculty is open to the fact of providing information to you over the net and also telling you to do these assignments and then submit these assignments virtually. You will also see that now basic aspects of paying your fees has become digital, taking attendance possibly has become digital to a large extent. So while we don't have something called the CARES Act where the government had pumped in huge amount of money in the US, but in India also there is a lot of impetus which is happening because of COVID, where virtual enhancement is happening and everything is going on the cloud. I want to share an animation, and I hope that this will work with you because of we are doing it on Google Meet. But the moral of this particular animation is to show to you that the old companies that you know are slowly disappearing, and it is being replaced by new companies. So majority of the companies that you will see in the last 20 years were never even present. So let me give you an example, and I hope this animation works. Himanshu sir, if it doesn't work, do let me know. But I hope it should work.
It's working, sir. It's working.
So if you see all these large companies, for example, Coca-Cola, GE, Disney, Nokia, and now you see that they will slowly start coming down. This is 2006, possibly you were 5 to 7 years old, and now all these companies are slowly losing their steam. And the kind of companies which are coming forward are more the IT and technology related company. Look at Google jumping, and you see Amazon is not even there. Just see when Amazon comes into the picture. So 2014 is when Amazon comes in. So you see it at the bottom, and look at Amazon when it is going to enhance its ability. So I have data only till 2018, but you would have realized that the top 4 to 5 companies are now what we call as FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, etc. But majority of these companies are technology-led companies. Now, in India also, we are going to see a big change because in the next possibly 2 to 3 years, India has become a superpower. You saw the case in Ukraine, where because of India having the clout and the diplomatic relationships, we were able to get our students back. So, India is going to become very, very predominant from a global economy perspective. And all this is going to impact the way you work, learn, and play. You will realize that today majority of the companies are spending time on transforming customer experience. What do you mean by transforming customer experience? They're looking at more conversational interface. I'll give you a small business example. Today when you go to any of the bank sites, say you go to HDFC, you will see something called a EVA chatbot. You go to ICICI, there is another chatbot. All these people are reducing the contact time and improving efficiency by giving technology which can get faster to you. So that personalization is happening. The second thing is in terms of how do you improve business operations. So you will see two technologies which are playing a regular role. You will see AI based, artificial intelligence based demand forecasting. You will see better supply chains because of the analytics which is happening. So even in decision making, now we are seeing faster decision making. Earlier, when COVID had hit us, we didn't know where the vaccines are coming, what is going to happen, who's taken the first shot, who's taken the second shot. Now you'll be happy to know that the entire COVID app resides on AWS, and anybody and everybody can see who's taken first shot, who's taken the second shot, and where can I go and take the shots. So this has led to shifting from reactive to proactive. That is the most important thing. And finally, now companies are getting the ability to innovate. Earlier, they did not have time because they were kind of embroiled in the regular issues, but now they can focus on their core competency and come up with better innovation. Now, you should be aware of four emerging technologies which are coming and which we call in the IT firms as smack. And this is not that smack, but this is the different smack. This comprises of social. Everybody is now on social media, which is primarily your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, etc. All of that. Second is mobile. I had talked about mobile. Majority of the companies now will have everything on the mobile. You will be happy to know that even our courseware of AWS is available on the mobile. The third thing is in terms of analytics. So today, if I give you huge amount of data, for example, I give you the Aadhaar cards of everybody in India. What is the inference that you can draw? You will possibly draw an inference that somebody is male, somebody is female. Based on the pin code, you can figure out which district that person belongs to. From the district, you can figure out which state the person belongs to. From the state, you can figure out how much literacy rate is there, what is the education level. So companies are now using analytics to come up with huge amount of information which will help them in decision making. And now when I want to store this data, where am I going to store this data? I don't have physical servers. If I'm going to put everything on physical servers, I will need, at least the whole college building to just, store my servers. So what I do is I put everything on the cloud. So cloud is becoming very, very critical, and digital skills are now the foremost thing. So today, if I talk about cloud, you will see that in India, we have approximately about 4.4 million IT professionals, out of which about 1.2 are in the IT enabled services, what we know as the call center. The remaining are specifically in the IT sector. From this 4.4 million, only about 6 lakh people are working in cloud. The requirement is 8 lakh 73. So there's already a gap of about 2 lakh 65,000 cloud professionals. And this gap is expected to grow by 4x in the next 3 years. It's already 2022. This gap is going to go up by another 4x. So from 200k, it is going to go up to almost 800k. That's the requirement for cloud professionals. Another study which has been carried out by IDC says that only about 35% of the enterprises today have, or companies have, people who can manage, troubleshoot, and support cloud. The remaining 65% all do not even have people who can support cloud. So there is a huge requirement for people who can move and do troubleshooting, supporting, and developing in the cloud. Now, what is exactly the cloud? So in simple layman terms, for a lot of people who are possibly in the junior years may not know what is cloud, but basically whatever I do on premises means whatever I'm doing in my college or in my institution, I can now offer it on the internet. So basically cloud means on demand services of your computing power, of your data, of your storage, of all your applications and all your other IT resources which you can put on the cloud, and you do a pay as per you pricing. Let me take an example. You know how electricity works. When I switch on my electricity, my meter will start running. Same way in cloud, when I'm going to use a particular service, I will switch it on. When I switch off the plug, then automatically my billing stops. So cloud works out to be cheaper compared to your on premises, where you have to keep everything on even if there's nobody sitting in the lab. So cloud has become very, very important every day. Do you know that the Hotmail or the Gmail that you use is also a part of cloud? Let me tell you how it is part of the cloud. Because Hotmail and Gmail are what we call as software as a service. Platform as a service is when you are going to use any application which is made available to you by a third party. For example, I'm using Salesforce or an ERP system where your fees is being taken. That is where it is being provided over the cloud, but it resides on a particular infrastructure. and which is the third part, which is infrastructure as a service. So these are three important parameters that you should know about cloud. Now, why has cloud become so, important? First of all, it is pay per use. Number two, you will see a lot of the applications which include right from your Facebook to your Google Maps to your LinkedIn, etc. You don't need to install it. You basically have the app which is made available to you, and the version gets updated by the infrastructure provider. You don't have to worry, okay, my, like my antivirus, this is going to go off, I will lose all the data, etc. Cloud has replicas or mirror images. So there is a very good use of the cloud in every aspect of life that you're particularly utilizing now. Let me share a simple example with you to talk about how cloud is like a pizza. So when I'm getting, making a pizza at home, this is called on premise. So in my college, I'll be possibly preparing the pizza. I'll be having my own canteen. I'll get my own cold drink, and I will have, the gas, the chula, and everything, and all the material that is required to make the pizza. When I am going to have the infrastructure, but I will get the ingredients, from outside, then it is called infrastructure as a service. When I'm going to call it from Domino's, but I'm going to provide my dining table or, a cold drink, then it is platform as a service. But if I'm going to go out and eat in a Pizza Hut or in a Domino's, then it will be called software as a service. So this is a simple example for you to learn about how the cloud is. The green portion is what the vendor manages, while the blue portion is what you as an individual or as a company will manage. Now, where does Amazon Web Services comes into play? So Amazon, what it has done is it has created a lot of infrastructure and made it available to a huge amount of companies, which could be the public sector, which could be the enterprises, which could be your startups. So whatever you wanted to do on premise, now you can offer it on the cloud, and you can run your applications, fully securely. You don't have to worry about security or any of these issues. How is that possible? That is possible because AWS uses something which is called a region and an availability zone and something called edge computing. Let me take an example again to share that with you. All of you were watching IPL, which happened recently in Dubai. Now, if you were, seeing the match in Dubai, you will see it face to face. But we were able to see it in India without any jet lag. How is that possible? This is possible because whatever was getting streamed from here was getting accepted by what are called as point of presence at these respective cloud fronts. So there is no jitter or there is no delay. Even if the delay is there, it is bare minimum. It is, in milliseconds, you won't even come to know of the delay. So today, AWS is spread across the world, and you have multiple zones which allow you to access information within, milliseconds, and you can store that information and retrieve that information as and when you desire. Now, what AWS does in education, we help in a lot of the virtual assessments and learner management systems. And the whole idea is you don't have to worry, even if your computers are growing old in your existing computer lab, you will be worried, okay, I need to upgrade their RAM, I need to, improve their hardware, I need to put more hard disk. No, you do not need to do that, because all you need to do on the cloud is use that same computer and have the entire infrastructure on the cloud, and that will help you reduce cost. Also, if you want to, run heavy labs, for example, during COVID, a lot of the mechanical students could not access the labs because they were at home. Now, how do I do things like AutoCAD or MATLAB, which use heavy processing? Through the cloud, that is possible because the entire application is available on the cloud itself. The third element is in terms of training and certification that we do, which is building the digital skills. Now, let me talk about, those digital skills. We offer it through a program called the Aws Academy. This is something which, sir is running for you respectively at your institute, and he's one of the educators who's been trained worldwide to undertake and offer this program. So what happens in this program is that we offer different curriculum which are offered to the students. It is ideally meant for your undergrad and your postgraduate students. All of these are aligned to global certifications, and Vishram sir will talk about these global certifications. But our end aim is that if you are prepared for the cloud, getting a job for you is easier compared to your peers. Now, what are the courses that we offer? There are different courses that we offer. There are some basic courses. For example, there is a course on cloud computing, there is a machine learning fundamentals, there is a data center fundamentals, there is an engineering operations fundamental. Besides this, you have a lot of the associate level courses. So you can get into the enterprise side, which is called also architecting. That means I don't want to do coding, but I want to do project management. I can get into the development side where I am interested in programming and coding and I can build applications on the cloud. Or I can get into troubleshooting and maintenance, which is operations. And finally, you have a course on data analytics, which I had shared with you. How do you draw inferences from the data? So if Maruti is going to set up a new sales or a service center, they will first figure out what is the demand, how many people stay out there, what is the number of cars out there. All that happens through data analytics. So who are the people who hire people who have been already trained on cloud? So most of the companies which are global system integrators, for example, you will see out here Tata, Wipro, Infosys, Cognizant, HCL, we are regularly sharing job profiles with all our academies. And these students who have graduated and have been able to get a global certification generally get placed within the organizations. The average salary, dependent on which company you join and the certification that you carry, would be anywhere from a ranging from 4 lakhs to about 15 to 20 lakhs. So it depends on the company and the certification that you carry. But there is a huge demand for cloud, as I had indicated earlier through the NASSCOM study, that approximately 4x of the number of people which exist today are required in the next 3 years. Now, I want to share with you before I end how jobs are changing. So you will see, I talked about it right at the beginning also. We are moving away from individual departments to teams to networks. It does not matter of hierarchy right now. Nobody is a manager or a director or a VP. It is still there. It is now more based on the specialization and the expertise that you bring on board. And earlier it was that whatever the chairman said used to percolate down. Now it is a two-way approach. They also say something, from the bottom also you get information. It is a shared mission which keeps happening. So to end, what I will say is that, all these changes are happening. You need to be prepared for it. So I would recommend all of you, go ahead, attend your trainings, get certified, and become a part of this digital journey. So thank you very much, and I will give it back to sir, so that if he has any questions, any queries, we can take it after Vishram sir's session, because we have kept the last 10 to 15 minutes for that. So over back to you, sir, for the overall session.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any question? Anybody? No. Okay. Okay. Vishram, sir? Hello? Vishram, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. Hi all. Good afternoon. I hope I am audible and visible also. I am not super presentable today, so sorry about shame and all. I guess I am coming across well, the audio video wise. So shall I continue?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. I'll just share my screen. Uh, so- Okay, a slide deck is visible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. So after such a fantastic presentation and insights on cloud, I'm not going to bore you with more slides. I hope you enjoyed Lokesh sir's presentation and whatever the knowledge bits he has given all of us. I guess Lokesh sir has already spoken about the courses. Just bringing it up again. Uh, as a refresher, maybe Himanshu sir has been doing a fantastic, phenomenal job in that area. I think sir, आपके एरिया में तो इतने सारे बच्चों को किसी ने पढ़ाया भी नहीं होगा. So kudos to you, and please continue whatever you are doing. Right, so you may be familiar with some of these courses which you have gone through with the able guidance of Himanshu sir, right? Foundations, architecting, whatever. And this is, in fact, this slide is now, not complete because we have machine learning and NLP and data center operations, data center technicians course, a lot of courses, and we keep adding. Right? So, there is no end to how much learning you can do. It's just that the time is not sufficient, right? Always, all the time. So make sure that you are making right use of your time and picking up the courses as per the guidance from sir. Okay. All right. So, like I said, I'm not going to bore you a lot with presentation. So I'm going to quickly switch over to demo of one of our services, which is quite interesting, and some of you might have seen it or might not have, but I'm sure that demo will, invoke enough interest for you to at least explore that. All right. So before I proceed to that, I would like to talk about the certifications we have. Certainly, how to do that, how to book the exam, and all those modalities will be taken care by Mansur. Himanshu sir at your place, which is Mansur, right? Okay, awesome. So we have foundations course, which is aligned to the practitioner certification. Okay, so I'm not sure where are you sitting in this journey right now. Some of you might have done the practitioner and maybe moving towards the next level of courses. But if you have not yet started, then cloud practitioner is a good way to go, right? You can complete the foundations course and take up the cloud practitioner exam, right? Alongside, you can also get started on the machine learning foundations, okay? Or you can go to the next level and take the next level of exams. So if you see, we start from the left and then move on to the right, okay? So the columns in the middle, they are like the intermediate certification. And if you are, if you're aiming for that, at this point, that is good enough, right? That is good enough because beyond this, there is a professional level of certification, and you may not be ready at this point. May not be, some of you may be, but generally you may not be ready because that requires a little bit of hands-on experience. So what I would suggest is that get started with the practitioner. Practitioner is a fairly easy certification. In probably a month or two after starting the course, you can actually get through the certification and you have your faculty to guide. I would say immediately move on to the associate level certification and try to target the architecting certification, right? A little bit on these certifications, so after laying the foundations and once you have a sufficient idea of the platform, you can decide with the help of your Himanshu sir which one you want to pick up, right? Whether you want to pick up developing, architecting, or operations. Okay, so architecting is generally the preferred path because that is, I would say, the extension of cloud foundation. So if in the cloud foundations you have learned, little bit about AWS, then in the architecting you dive deeper on those. So if you have learned about security, then you will learn more, dive deeper into the different aspects of security, right? If you have learned about high availability, then you will learn about little more complex architectures of, which will help you create a highly available architecture, so on and so forth, right? This one doesn't really require you to be, to be aware of any programming language at this point or any SDKs as such, okay? Little bit of scripting experience always helps, or exposure. If not experience, little bit of scripting exposure always helps, right? Because in the associate level, when you are starting, you also are exposed to something called an AWS CLI, command line. Of course, it is you are exposed to that in the first level also, but it is not really mandatory to go deeper into that. But at the associate level, you are expected to know a little bit of the CLI also, right? So this is a generally preferred path. But if you are interested in, let us say, programming, or developing something, and if you are interested in, doing something in Java or Python or Node.js or Golang or whatever, then AWS Academy Cloud Developing would be a good course for you. And the associated certificate is already listed over there, right? So AWS Certified Developer Associate. So in this course and in this exam, you are tested on developers view of the AWS services, right? In this course, we undergo basically you are taught how to build simple applications on AWS platform, right? So let us say if you want to build a mobile app, you want to build a simple website, or you want to build, let's say, a complex website, right, using various services of AWS, and you want to basically put a lot of custom code in one of these languages, then this course can be a good starting point for you. And when people are using AWS platform, they are building applications on that. And when they are building applications using various services like Lambdas and API gateways, they need to undergo this course. They need to understand the SDKs. I hope you're familiar with this concept of SDK, right? So AWS has extensive SDKs for about 8 to 9 platforms. You can think about it. If you have inclination towards development world, Java, Python, etc., you can definitely think about it, right? Now, what about cloud operations? Okay, so ops is so when the application is deployed in for the customer's use, right? It goes into the operations or the maintenance mode. Right? This is where the cloud ops team comes into play. Okay, so cloud ops team or cloud ops engineer would generally be responsible for monitoring those resources, automation, right? Responding to alarms, so on and so forth. And here, a fair bit of scripting experience helps, right? So scripting in shell, CLI, command line interface, or even Windows PowerShell for that matter. So based on your liking and interest, you can select the certification. And if you are confused at this point, and if you are not sure, take the middle path, right? Take the middle path. Yeah. So. I hope this helps. Any other doubts you may have, we can take towards the end of this, or maybe sir can help. All right. So this was about the certification, and these are the different badges which are available from AWS Training and Certification team, and all those which are inside the box. AWS Academy has courses and material for you for that, for those exams, right? Anything beyond that falls in the category of either professional certifications or the specialty certifications. Okay, professional certifications require you to have some experience on the AWS platform, preferably on the commercial side, to be able to pass those exams, right? And the specialty certifications are specific to the specialty areas of AWS, like networking, databases, big data, analytics, security, Alexa, machine learning, etc. Okay, so going through the machine learning foundations course will definitely help you, not fully, but at least make progress towards achieving this certification, right? AWS Certified Machine Learning, the specialty. So currently, AWS Academy doesn't have any other courses, but whatever we have, the machine learning foundations and NLP is in general good to ramp up your knowledge on machine learning area, which is pretty hot these days, right? Okay, so talking about machine learning, right? So this is actually a quote from more than 10 years back, and if you look at the quote, that has come, to a reality, right? It says a decade from now, every business will be operating primarily from the cloud, making way for more flexible yet more productive and efficient ways of working. Hardware won't be the problem in a decade, software will. Okay, so maybe you could relate to what Lokesh sir was saying, right? The growth of Amazon and how it came up, right? So certainly Amazon has grown because of its e-retail business, but even the AWS has been the significant part of Amazon's growth. Right? So you can see almost every application is now running on the cloud. Okay, and they are making heavy use of AI, ML, IoT, AR, VR. Right. So AI, ML you have heard of, right? Artificial intelligence, machine learning. AWS has very extensive suite of services. One of the fastest growing services of AWS is in the machine learning. Right. So I would definitely request you to go ahead and look at the machine learning foundation course. Sir can get you started on that. Okay, IoT, very extensive suite of IoT services, right? And AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality. So we have Sumerian. You can always go to YouTube and look at the AR, VR videos of AWS if you are interested. But we are making good progress in AR and VR, and this is all possible because of a very, very robust cloud platform which we have built. Now it is very easy to build new products, and if they, if they work, it's great. If they don't work, I mean, we are using cloud anyway, right? So no regrets. So that's how and this is exactly why there are so many startups which are adapting to cloud. Right? They can start small. Right? If their idea clicks, it's great. They become next Facebook. Or if their ideas fail, which is fine, right? But then at least they have spent limited time and money on failing, which is important, right? All right. So cloud is certainly there and appealing to everyone. That is why we all are here talking about cloud today. Okay, continuing our discussion on machine learning, right? So ML. The rate of ML is growing. It's actually an understatement. It is already beyond this. I mean, ML is what I can say, just like cloud, everywhere, yatra tatra sarvatra, everywhere. You can see cloud and machine learning in robotics, finance, forecasting, retail. When you are purchasing drones, everywhere, they are making use of machine learning. So, whether you are interested in it or not, that doesn't really matter. You cannot escape that, right? So now is the time. The bus, you haven't yet missed the bus. Start learning something about machine learning, be it the technology side, be it data science side, whatever, right? Because it is there and it is going to be there for the near foreseeable future, right? So make sure that you get involved in machine learning as much as possible, right? Some of the uses I spoke about in that lead, Amazon's backend server, not the backend servers, sorry, the backend systems, which are the warehouses, right? The yellow images. They use machine learning heavily. Then the product recommendation engines they use very heavily. Alexa uses machine learning. Amazon's Prime Air drone delivery, which is being tested, they use machine learning algorithm big time. Right? So machine learning is there, and AWS has already launched courses for machine learning. We are going to launch new courses on IoT and maybe AR, VR, satellite imagery in the future. Right? So Aws Academy is not behind. You are already the part of it, right? So as long as you are there and you are getting all those courses accessible to you, make sure that you are taking the maximum advantage of it, right? It is available almost almost free for you, right? So make sure that you are not letting this opportunity go. Okay, and that's about it from me on this part. There is Himanshu sir. How much time do we have? I just want to show you a quick demo of machine learning at work. So. Okay, is my screen coming across still? Awesome. So there is a service of AWS called Depressor, right? So this service, Depressor, you might have seen. Some of you might have participated. I don't know. So basically, a couple of years back, AWS developed a car, a physical car with cameras and chip and a lot of intelligence on it, and then developed a physical track on which you will run that car. When that car is running, it has a camera in the front, and that camera will look around, process the data, and then keep moving. Right? So if there is an obstacle, it will move around the obstacle, and eventually it will complete the track. Okay. We also have a virtual version of it. Right? So this service is called as Depressor, and we also have a virtual version of it, and it is completely based on machine learning. Okay, completely based on machine learning. So I'll just show you a quick demo of the virtual car. If you're interested, you can just go to YouTube and look at the physical car demo. Okay. Now, maybe due to the network or whatever, the demo might not come across well, the graphics might not come across well to you. So you can see that this is the animation version of it. So there is a car which is running on a track. Okay. And this is a simulation of the actual physical car, right? So in the physical car, what we do is we basically install a program, right, which we can write and install. So similarly, in the virtual in this virtual race, the same function can be used from, and you all have access to this AWS Deep Racer console. Okay, so you saw this is a track. On the right hand side, there is a legend, and you can see the actual track. Now, is there a magic happening here? Well, there is no magic happening here, right? So AWS Deep Racer service was created to basically encourage machine learning among everyone, right? Not just students, among everyone. And how it basically works is there is a Python-based function behind the scene. All right, there is a Python-based function behind the scene which you can pick. Okay, so this is my AWS Deep Racer console. So there is a Python-based function which you can create and you can tweak. Okay, which you can make changes to, right? And when you make changes to that, this car moves, right? This car moves, and you can control the speed. You can control. So if you remember the video, there was a center line, right? So the idea is to control how much it moves to the right or to the left of the center line and keep on moving until it completes the entire race. So since its launch, it has been extremely popular among students because you get to create your own model, right? And then you get to train your model. And you get to train your model, and it uses machine learning to train the model, right? And once you train the model, you can run it. First, you can test it in your account, and then you can participate in the competition. Okay, you can participate in the competition. So you see, these are the parameters, right? There are certain things which you may not be able to appreciate at this point, but this is the function I was talking about. And you see, this is the only function which is available for you to tweak. Pura ye function ka khel hai. The entire car journey is governed by what are you putting in this Python function. See, a comment hai upar kitna simple hai. Now some of you may not like the code or like coding, but look at the simplicity. It's simple hai ye code, and all you have to do is change these parameters. Okay, change these parameters and see how the car runs, and then keep on making changes until you get the best result. किसी का 3 मिनट में रन होगा, किसी का 15 सेकंड में रन होगा, किसी का कभी रन ही नहीं होगा, right? And that is absolutely fine. But you can get to try it for free, right? So I don't have enough time, but you can always go to YouTube and see actually how this is done. It is actually pretty easy. You can create your you can click on get started here, and here it will guide you on how to get started, right? Learn the basics, create the model, in the model and evaluate to see how it is running. तो वहाँ पे आपको पूरा आपका ग्राफ दिख जाता है. It will clearly tell you आपको कैसे ट्विक करना है मॉडल, ट्विक करना है मॉडल. Okay, and then keep on training it. और जैसे आपको लगता है कि नहीं, this is come to a place where it is giving me decent times. That is the time when आप उसको सबमिट करते हो रेस के लिए. You can there is no charges for it. You just do it and just submit it using the same interface. You can submit it. तो यहाँ पे ही आपको you will see that we are conducting the competitions always all the time. तो वहाँ पे आपको participate करने का मौका मिल जाएगा. Right? So यहाँ से आप लोग मॉडल क्रिएट करके फिर there are couple of steps which you have to complete, और आखिरी में आपको रिवॉर्ड फंक्शन दिखेगा which is basically the Python code. Right? उसको क्लिक करो, चालू करो, and then keep on refining that. It becomes really interesting, right, as you get started with this. So I would urge all of you to explore this. Okay, to explore this. Look at the starting. So I'm not sure you want to hear whatever the YouTube video is playing, right? So just copy this link and put it in the chat and then so you can access it later. So if the voice is not coming, then I'll stop here. Right?
Yeah, Vishram sir, the voice is not coming.
Okay, I thought so. So it's okay. So you should have access from your Learner Labs account, right? Everything is available here, and the good part is that in the AWS Skill Builder site, again, this is also available to you complimentary, right? There is a training on AWS DPress. आप उसको enroll कर सकते हो. Go through this training. There is also a crash course, and there is a long course also. Right? Go through this. Get the basics and see, this is actually a fun way of getting into the machine learning space, right? Machine learning काफी लोगों को intimidating लगता है, myself included. मुझे भी machine learning से काफी डर लगता था, okay? But so I started when I looked at the depressor, I was super impressed कि इतना आसान है, right? And then this is how you begin, right? Suddenly, at least you can make a beginning. Not every machine learning model is going to be that easy, but at least आप शुरुआत तो कर सकते हो, correct? So explore AWS Depressor from your Learner Labs account. आपको अच्छा लगता है, take it forward. There is a good free tier available in that. आप उसको उसका advantage आप ले सकते हो. You can also participate in competitions, and who knows, the next AWS Depressor champion maybe will be from Himanshu sir's batch. All right. So if there are any questions at this point, we can take those questions. Otherwise, back to you, Himanshu sir.
Any question? Hello. Hello. Any question? Students?
सर कोई सवाल नहीं लग रहा है, तो आई होप बच्चों के बाउंसर नहीं गया हो.
No, sir.
तो भाई आप लोग जो भी बैठे हैं, मॉरल ऑफ द स्टोरी जो विश्राम सर ने बताया कि आपको कोडिंग से डरना नहीं है, आप मशीन लर्निंग जैसे धुरंधर प्रोडक्ट को भी यूज कर सकते हैं इन योर एकेडमी. So you have the flexibility and the resources to do whatever Himanshu sir is teaching you. It's your initiative that you need to take it forward.
कोई क्वेश्चन है तो बताएं. करो ना. कुछ क्वेश्चन है तो पूछ सकते हैं.
नहीं तो शोले वाला डायलॉग, जो डर गया सो मर गया.
पूछो. Yes sir, one question. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, how to start my new journey in machine learning?
So विश्राम सर ने अभी आपको बताया, बट ही कैन इल्यूसिडेट कि आप कैसे कोर्स में एनरोल कर सकते हैं. विश्राम सर, ओवर टू यू.
Yeah, so like I said, there is Academy Machine Learning Foundation.